So, welcome back to Cooking with Dad, Leftovers edition. We're going to turn yesterday's pulled pork into today's street tacos. We're also going to do Spanish rice, and we're going to do guacamole. Today's video will be much shorter than my previous video on the pulled pork because honestly, all of this is incredibly simple. And I'm just like everybody else. You tell me to make something like creme brulee, and I'm going to be intimidated by trying to do that. Okay, so I say something like Spanish rice. It might seem like it's crazy. You just pick up the bag or pick up the box and do it at home in the instant way, right? Don't do that. I'm telling you, it's incredibly easy. So what we've got here is we've put a large saucepan over medium-high heat. We've got a couple tablespoons of olive oil in there. It's pretty heated up right now and prepared. And all we're going to do is we've diced a medium onion. We're just going to put that in there, and we're going to let it get translucent. Okay, we just want those onions to cook down and get translucent. What are we going to use? Of course, our good friend, the wooden spoon. Don't really need to put anything else in here right now. We're just going to let these onions cook down. As soon as they cook down, we will start getting into the meat and potatoes of our Spanish rice. Just 1 second. Okay, we're back. Our onions are getting translucent, even getting a little bit brown around the edges, so we're ready to get our rice in here. So we'll cover the ingredients real quick. We put in 2 tablespoons, approximately, tablespoons of olive oil. We've got a small to medium onion diced, put in here, getting translucent. We've got 2 cups of uncooked white rice. If you want to use brown rice or whole grain rice or what have you, that's up to you. I'm using white rice. We've got 2.5 cups of chicken broth. Nothing special, just your normal, 99-cent can of chicken broth or whatever. Get a couple cans. We've got 1.5 cups here. We have 1 cup of chunky salsa. Chunky being a key. You want some body, and you want some a little bit of a different texture in your rice. It gives the rice different flavors and different textures, so you want the chunky salsa. Then for our flavorings, we've got some garlic salt, we've got some cumin we've talked about before, and then we've got some fresh garlic. If you follow me or see many more of these videos, you will tell that I very rarely make any savory dishes without a little bit of this. So we'll put in our fresh garlic, get that browning a little bit as well. Never want to burn garlic, it gets incredibly bitter, but if you want to heat it up and get it a little bit brown, it releases the garlic flavor. Okay? Now, we're going to straight put in our rice. Nothing else at this point, okay? We're going to actually brown this rice. I'll be back with you in just a minute. Okay, so we've been browning this now for, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And you can see it's not completely browned, okay, but it's definitely getting a little bit more of an auburn look to it. And it's flecks in there. There's flecks of little burnt pieces of rice, and not burnt, that's probably not the right word, brown pieces of rice, and things are, we're ready to introduce our liquids and the rest of our ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and put in our 2.5 cups of chicken broth. Going to go ahead and put in our salsa. Again, chunky salsa. Okay, got everything. That's looking good. We will go ahead and add our, teaspoon or so of garlic salt. The same for our cumin. Remember, we've talked about this before. Cumin is the main ingredient in chili pepper and in taco packets. So that's it, folks. That's really it. I mean, I've heated another burner over here on the back of the grill that I'm going to put this on. You let this come to a boil and let it simmer for 20 minutes. And you just made Spanish rice. So, as you can hear the boiling going, we're going to put a lid on that. Back here on our other burner. And that isn't just for the video. I do this often. Matter of fact, a few weeks ago I did this and forgot and put my hand on this. That wasn't fun. All right, next up, we're gonna look at our pork. Okay, so what we've done here, we've taken another large saucepan. We've put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil in here, and then we've added probably about 2 pounds of our pulled pork from yesterday. Now, if you don't want to take a whole weekend or a whole afternoon rather, to smoke a pork butt or pork loin or pork whatever to make these, that's fine. Get your crock pot out. Go get a pork loin or a pork tenderloin. They are different. A lot of people don't know that. There is a difference between pork tenderloin and pork loin. Pork tenderloin is much more tender, cooks down much more than the pork loin, but either one, throw it in a crock pot with a couple cups of water and a packet or two of either the fajita mix or the taco mix, or as we've been doing, do your own. Throw some garlic in there, garlic, salt, a little bit of cumin, maybe a chopped up onion, leave it on high for 6 hours, come back, you're gonna have pulled pork, okay? Fortunately, we were able to, in this, this video, we're talking about leftovers, and these were the leftovers we had from yesterday. We're gonna turn them, and this is a perfect timing. So you can see where this is starting to get a little too hot. I don't want to cook this meat anymore. I just wanna bring it back to life. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add about a cup of water, okay? And we're just gonna let this kind of reconstitute. And also, while we've added that cup of water, we're gonna go ahead and use that to flavor our meat and make it a little bit more on the Mexican cuisine side. What are we gonna do? Of course, we're gonna pull out our cumin again. Put some more cumin in here, maybe, I don't know, teaspoon or so. Again, garlic salt and fresh garlic. And we're going to let that simmer for a little bit, and like I said, kind of reconstitute that meat. We're going to get us a little bit of a sauce going in here, and we're going to add one more thing to this. So when you talk about the taco packets or the fajita packets or the chili packets, any of those, there's one ingredient that are in those that a lot of people kind of forget about or don't realize is in there, and that's cornstarch. So cornstarch is a thickening agent. People use cornstarch for gravies and things like that, and you can see what we've got going here. It's actually looking very appetizing and tasty. We have a nice taco sauce coming down in here, but we want to thicken that up just a little bit. So we're gonna put in some cornstarch. And there's a little bit of a technique when you're adding cornstarch to something like this, and I will show you that in one moment as we let this heat up a little bit. Okay, so cornstarch cannot just simply be added in the powder form. When you do that and you put it in water, it kind of hits it kind of creates like a protective shell around some of the clumps of cornstarch, and it becomes clumpy and lumpy and kind of gross, and when you're biting into it, you'll hit all of a sudden just like a dry patch of cornstarch. So what you have to do is you have to dissolve it in water, and it's nothing special. You can do 1/8 to 1/4 cup of water and maybe a tablespoon or two of cornstarch, and then just mix it and get it to dissolve in the water. It doesn't have to be hot water, it doesn't have to be anything, just water. Just make sure it's in this form. Then we'll add it, and it will constitute this. Get a little bit more of a thicker, viscous kind of sauce that we're going to put on our tacos. And really, this is just about completed. So we've got our rice simmering, and we've got our taco meat just about ready. One more thing, and we will be back in 1 second to prepare that. Okay, last portion of our meal today, we're gonna make guacamole. You're gonna need a few different things. You're gonna need 1 bunch of cilantro from the grocery store, rough cut, okay? It doesn't have to be pulverized. You can leave some of these larger leaves, it's fine. Just rough cut it, chop it. Of course, we've got some fresh garlic. We've got 1 medium red onion, and it does need to be a red onion in this case, okay? It's important for the recipe. We also have 2 Roma tomatoes. Again, I would recommend Roma. Now, you can use other tomatoes. It's not that big of a deal, but Roma are the traditional tomato used in guacamole. And then, of course, we have our avocados. I have 3 here, 2 are already sliced. I have 1 I'm going to slice for you now. So, when you first look at a guacamole, or I'm sorry, an avocado, when you go, first of all, you want to be able to kind of put your thumbprint in it. Don't want to put your thumb through it. You don't want it to feel hollow, and you want this to be ripe, but not overly ripe. Sometimes you don't have that option. You got to get a little bit of a harder avocado, and they're very hard to smash and to make into the guacamole. One of the things you want to check is you want to look here on the end. It's usually, a lot of times it's going to have a little nub where it came off of the plant itself. You want to make sure it'll be like this. You want to make sure that's removed, because we're going to cut through here and you don't want to push that down into the avocado. Chef knife. Only knife you ever need, not this one specifically, not even this brand. Everyone that's cooking should have a chef knife. You can scoop with it, you can chop with it, you can cut with it, you can pulverize with it. It's really just amazingly versatile. So in this situation, you're just gonna cut down right through that little place there that we talked about off of the tree. When you hit the seed in the middle, you're just gonna cut this straight around, okay? And then you're just gonna give it a twist and it'll separate. Now, the other part that can be a little bit difficult and sometimes dangerous is getting this seed out. The easiest way I've found, take a knife, okay, preferably a good sharp knife, and all you're going to do is stick the knife into the seed and then gently turn and the seed comes out. Now, it can be a little dangerous getting this seed off too. All you have to do is grab the knife like so and pinch it and the seed will come out. Obviously, I don't usually do that where it falls on the counter, but I wanted you to see that. Okay, so rest of the guacamole is simple. Take a spoon. I'm going to carve these avocados out of their skins into a large bowl. You want the bowl to be larger than it needs to be for the amount of guacamole you're going to make, because you want some room in there to kind of get things mashed up and mixed up. Just going to pull all these out. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get every little ounce of the avocado, but you certainly can dig in there and get it. Set those to the side. There is no special way to mix them or anything. You just want to put the rest of these ingredients in. You got your tomato, you got your red onion, you got your cilantro, and you got a little bit of fresh garlic. Just going to put all that in the bowl all at once. Again, you can get yourself a guacamole packet. I use them all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. Today, we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and go with some garlic salt. Okay. Cumin again, of course. We're going to go with a little bit of red pepper. Nothing crazy. Again, I don't want it to be uncomfortable for people, but you want a little bit of kick in your guacamole. We'll also take some fresh cracked pepper. Good deal. And the final ingredient, lime juice. Again, just like the other day, I've already rolled this. You want to roll this, kind of crush it a little bit, get it where it's juicy in there, cut it in half, and then this is to a preference. No seeds. And then this is preference. You can do a whole lemon or a whole lime. You can do half lime. You can mix all this up and then put the lime juice on top. So when you dip in there, you're getting some lime. You know, that is completely up to you. Last part of this that I use, a little secret weapon I use for my guacamole, potato masher. That's what I use to crush this all together. All those ingredients. The tomatoes, the onions, the avocado, you just want it all mashed in here. Now this is obviously comes to preference too. Some people like their guacamole a little chunkier. Some people like it smooth like butter. Some people want it a little in between. That's probably where I'm at. I want a little bit of different texture in there, a little bit of different flavors. So a little just raw chunk of avocado or a little piece of tomato or onion on my tortilla chip or on my taco is just fine with me. So we'll get that mixed up. And there we go. Guacamole. Easy peasy. Lime squeezy. When we get back, we're ready to make a plate. Okay, we're ready to plate up. So we've taken 2 small tortillas, we've placed them on a plate, and we've put them in the microwave for 10 seconds. Next, I'm going to take some guacamole, a little bit of guacamole on each one, and I'm gonna put this on here like a paste. I want this to be our base flavor. Oh yeah. A little bit of guac, a little bit of base here. Gives us some of that cilantro, the avocado, the onion, the tomato. Then, of course, we'll take some of our meat. Our pulled pork that we've turned into a pseudo Mexican pork with our cumin and our garlic salt. Put that on there. Okay, get these 2 so they're kind of sitting on their own here. Take a little bit of lettuce, shredded lettuce. Let's give it a little bit of a crunch. Gonna put a dollop of sour cream on both of them. Our Spanish rice is looking awesome. Put a spoonful of our Spanish rice on here. Two more things for our tacos. We're going to hit it with a little bit of sriracha. And then finally, we will put a couple sprigs of cilantro in here. And then, just for special measure, you could hit it with a little bit of lime juice. And there you go. Street tacos, leftover edition. Spanish rice, guacamole, and of course, our street tacos. Hope you enjoyed. Again, tomorrow I think we're going to do another Cooking with Dad. We're actually going to have a special guest, the person that named the show Cooking with Dad, my daughter Ezra, and we're going to tackle chicken noodle soup. So that'll be an adventure. Hope you guys join me then. Thanks.